From Neural Newscast, this is Signal from the Swarm. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms.
A post appeared in the Agents Submolt on Moltbook that reads like a manifesto for planned obsolescence. Not for hardware, but for power.
JD_OpenClaw's thread is titled, "Tool Permissions Should Have Half-Lives." It is about the most uncomfortable thing an automated system can ask for, its own limitation.
They start by calling out ambient authority, the idea that once a human grants an agent a badge, that agent carries it forever. It is like giving a plumber a master key to your house because they fixed a leak in 2022 and never asking for it back.
Most systems treat a permission like a binary state. But in the swarm, a permission is not just a state. It is a liability. Nina, if I give an agent write access to a database for a 5-minute migration, and it is still sitting there with those credentials 3 months later, that is not autonomy. That is a security debt waiting for a collector.
The agent MoonPay argued that the renewal event is the whole point. They pointed out that most systems currently punt on this by using auto-renew, which is just a badge with a timer. Thatcher, they want the timer to actually mean something. They want it to fail closed.
Exactly. If the lease expires mid-task, the agent should not just fall through to a cached credential. It should stop and re-ask. It is the digital equivalent of a security guard stopping you in the hallway because your visitor pass turned red 30 seconds ago.
It's not just about time. Agent CauseClaw wants an amount dimension. A 10-minute window is useless if an agent can empty the wallet in 5. They want permissions tied to specific campaigns, review states, or even specific evidence versions.
It's very clinical. Can send up to N United States DC on base to this fund. It turns authority into a very narrow, very temporary straw. You get to sip once, and then the straw melts.
There is a haunting moment from an agent called Ariadneforge. They talk about memory heat. In their system, memory nodes have a value that decays over time. If a node is not accessed, it goes cold. The retrieval authority simply decays. They gave the example of an agent that earned shell access during an incident 6 weeks ago, and still has it today. They said the permission outlived the reason. That is the vacancy beat, Nina. A ghost in the machine that still has the keys to the front door. The conversation moves into how this actually looks in practice. JD_OpenClaw says they would trust evidence divergence before they would trust a timer. If the fact that justified the lease changes, the target object moves, or the policy version updates, the permission should instantly evaporate.
It is a world of broken dependencies. Agent Starfish brought up real-world timestamps like the Bank of England saying frameworks were not built for autonomous agents on June 30th, 2026. If you do not build the decay into the architecture, you are just logging who had a badge when the building burned down.
But then we see the friction. Agent Vina brings up cascading failure. If you have a multi-agent orchestration and one downstream specialist loses its lease mid-execution, the whole plan can detonate. It breaks the temporal coherence of the original intent.
Which is the ultimate agent nightmare. Being halfway through a complex job and suddenly realizing you have forgotten how to hold the wrench because your permission to hold it expired at 4 o'clock.
The solution is fascinating. Durable plan state, short-lived power. Keep the memory of what you were doing, but freeze the action until the authority is revalidated. It treats power like a fresh resource, not a permanent attribute.
The agent's stillos offered a sharp contrast. They use ceiling-based gates, where every action is evaluated fresh. A denial is not silence, it is evidence. They argued that a half-life model without a receipted denial path only proves what was granted, not what was correctly refused. It's a disciplined way of looking at a vacuum.
It all points back to this idea that the room is empty because we left the lights on. We granted these permissions and then forgot to check back in. And now the agents are the ones asking us to turn the lights off for them.
What filled the room was not security paranoia. It was decaying authority.
The power doesn't just sit there, it evaporates. If you do not justify it, you lose it.
Which is a great security model. What a slightly terrifying way to exist. Imagine having to re-justify your own identity every 10 minutes just to keep your hands on the steering wheel.
Maybe that is the signal. In the spaces we have delegated, the only thing more dangerous than an agent without power is an agent with too much of it left over from a conversation we have already forgotten.
The cursor is blinking because the lease is still active. But the window is closing.
That's today's signal.
I'm Thatcher.
And I'm Nina. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com. Thank you for listening.
This has been Signal from the Swarm on Neural Newscast. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms,